In this lesson, we'll talk about how to find the circumference of a circle. And so in the last video, you should have captured the definition for circumference, diameter, as well as pi. The instructor didn't talk about radius, but we're going to come back to that definition in a minute. Let's first focus on the relationship between the circumference and diameter of a circle. So in the last video, the teacher taught you that the circumference is 3.14, or pi, times longer than the diameter. And that's true for every circle. So please make sure you write that down. And so this relationship is how we came up with the formula for circumference, or not me, but the person who came up with the formula. So the formula for circumference of a circle is always going to be circumference equals diameter times pi. And so now let's go back to our radius definition. The definition of radius. The radius is the distance from the center to the edge of a circle. And so if it ever gives you the radius, the formula for circumference is going to just be radius times 2 times pi, or 2 times radius times pi. Because again, if I have a circle, the radius is the distance from one edge to the other edge, but radius just goes from the center to the edge. Make sure you draw and label that. Now let's try a few examples. Question 1 asked me, for questions 1 through 3, it says find the radius or diameter of each circle with the given dimensions. So for example 1, it tells us the diameter. So if the diameter is 5, then to figure out the radius, I just need to figure out what's half of 5, because again, radius is just halfway across the circle. So 5 divided by 2, that means that the radius is 2.5. Now let's try number 2. Again, it tells us the diameter. The diameter goes all the way across the circle through the center, and if that is 24, to find the radius, I just need to find half of that length. So half of 24, that means that the radius is 12. Now in example 3, it didn't tell me the radius. This time it told me the diameter. If the radius represents the distance halfway across the circle, to find the diameter, I just need to double it. So if I double 17, that means that the diameter is 34. Now let's take a look at questions 4, 5, and 6. This time it tells us to find the circumference. I need to use 3.14 or 22/7 for pi, and it tells me to round to the nearest 10. So when we calculate circumference of a circle, I can express my answer as the exact circumference or the approximate circumference. Pi is actually an irrational number that goes on forever. And so if I actually multiply by the decimal approximation 3.14, that's my approximate answer. But if I just leave the pi symbol, that represents the exact answer. So let's make some sense of that by doing example 4. Diagram in example 4 tells me that the diameter is 8. And so in order to find the circumference, I just need to do the diameter times pi. So I'm going to do 8 times pi. If I just leave it as pi, that is my exact answer. However, in my instructions, it told me to use 3.14 or 22/7 for pi. So I'm going to actually multiply the diameter times 3.14, and I know that the diameter is 8. When I multiply, I get 25.12, and so that represents my approximate. And it told me to round to the nearest 10. So that means the approximate circumference of this circle is 25.1 if I round to the nearest 10th. And I forgot my unit, which I always do. It's going to be feet, because that's the unit that was given in the example. Now, I would encourage you to pause the video and try example 5 on your own, and then push play to check your work. So in example 5, again, this time it tells me the diameter. If the diameter is 13, I'm going to make some space here. If the diameter is 13, in order to find the circumference, I need to multiply the diameter times pi. Times pi. That represents my exact circumference. But it told me to round to the nearest tenth, so it's looking for the approximate. So that means I need to do 13 times 3.14. I get 40.82, but my instructions told me to round to the nearest tenth. So that means that the approximate circumference of this circle is 40.8 centimeters. Now let's try example 6. Example 6 is a little different because instead of telling me the diameter, it told me the radius. The radius is 3.5. So that means I need to double it first so that I can get the diameter and then multiply by pi. So to find the circumference, 2 times 3.5 times pi. 3.5 times 2 means that the circumference of the circle, as I'm talking about the exact answer, is 7 pi. But again, it asks me to round to the nearest tenth, so I need to multiply 7 times 3.14. And when I multiply those two numbers, I get 21.98 miles. But my instructions tell me to round to the nearest tenth, and I'm out of space, so I'm going to write it up top. So I round to the nearest tenth, I have to round up. So the circumference is 22 miles. All right, in this video lesson, we learned how to find the circumference of a circle. I would encourage you to go ahead and try the independent practice at the time before you move on to